I'm all set for co-host. I just got a notification.
Yep,
Sweet, thank you.
no problem. You don't look like Rachel Miller.
How are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing great. Yeah, I turned around, she's gone.
Yeah, yeah, it happens to me all the time. I know exactly what you mean.
I got halfway through yesterday's lesson. I looked up and I thought I was late. So we're gonna be continuing that one today.
Yes, yes.
Perfect.
And that video should be up on the YouTube channel from yesterday if you wanna look at it. This will be different today. This will be a lot of fun. I think, at least to me it is. Of course, I'm crazy. I think branding is as fun as anything. So that tells you something about me.
I hear you. I've got 30 something years in commercial signage, so it's a fun minute for me.
Oh, wow. My brother-in-law works for a commercial sign company in Asheville. I think their headquarters is in Hickory, but
Okay.
he's in their Asheville office.
Which one?
I knew you were going to ask, so let me look it up. I will tell you. Let's see here. He is with, oh, embarrassing. I thought it would be on his contact, but it's not. Let me just see here. I know they do a lot of high-end work. Sign. Well, now I don't recognize which one of these is his. No, I don't know.
Pretty good chance if he's doing commercial projects, he's probably one of our clients.
Could well be. He does a lot with he's in Asheville and kind of runs the Asheville office, I think. He's technically president of the company, but a lot of his work is in Asheville, I know. It's funny, I can't seem to find the name. That's embarrassing. I think I'd know it if I see it, maybe not. I don't know. But they've been in business for a long time. I think it's maybe second generation.
Is it Coleman?
No, that doesn't ring a bell. They do a lot of signs for like national chains.
Yeah. Almost sounds like an Icon, but they rebranded. They joined up with, I think, Stratus.
Yeah, all those names are over my head.
And they change them every 2 years anyway.
Yeah, I'll let you know once I well, let me just see if it comes up on a search. Let's see, Ken Maxwell signs. I was thinking that song when we were a kid. It's called Sign Systems of Asheville, according to this.
Okay.
Sign Systems, does that make sense?
That one does not ring a bell. I'll have to get that over to one of our managers and see if they know. We do commercial takeoffs for signage for large hotels and airports and whatnot. So I'll have to see if we know.
Yeah, Sign Systems of Asheville LLC. But I know the main office is out of Hickory, so maybe they have a slightly different name. I'm not sure.
Sounds great. It's a small world.
It is. It is. It's really cool. I've gone with them to install some small signs like at a church and at a construction site, and helped them pound them in or whatever. And I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, every time I found myself installing a sign, I just know that I didn't price it right.
Yeah, I don't know if that would be this case or not, to tell you the truth. I know they've done a lot of work for Biltmore Estates.
Yeah.
A lot of signage there. I know they've done. I don't know. Okay. Well, let's see. Wait a little bit longer. Hey, Chris, how are you today?
Good, Dennis. Hope you are.
Doing fine, thanks. As far as I know.
We just need some rain.
Yeah, well, we had quite a bit yesterday, and I think we're supposed to get some tomorrow here. I don't know
Yeah,
about-
see, it's gone around us both. We've had just enough to settle the dust.
Yeah, I hope you get some more. They're saying 90% chance here, so
Yeah,
know.
yeah. So I think we're supposed to be a washout tomorrow, I think.
yeah. Now the washouts are bad, right? The water doesn't stay, is that right?
No, I'm just saying, no, when I say that, meaning that be rain all day.
I got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we need a rain all day. We need a slow 1 inch all day rain.
I got you. Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Grant, if you'll keep an eye on folks entering, that would be great.
Yes, sir.
Today, I'm going to warn you up front. This guy is the fastest talking person I have ever heard. Luckily, all these videos are posted in our member resources, our participant resources, so you can look at them again and watch them if you like. I personally think this guy is really one of the few in the field of branding that talks to normal people and has a regular kind of point of view that I think even us non-technical marketing branding people can kind of get what he's saying. So hopefully that'll be the case. I'm going to share the screen here, and hopefully that will work, and you guys can see my my screen here. Okay. So what we're going to do, we're going to start with a trailer, and the only reason I'm starting with the trailer is because he kind of goes over what he's going to cover in the following. So normally I wouldn't do the trailer, but he does a really good job of telling us what he's going to say. So let's take a look at that.
Welcome everyone to this session. I hope you enjoyed the event so far this morning. The roundtable seemed very interesting.
Sorry.
So this session is going to be a panel.
Sorry about that. Let me hold on 1 second here while I.
And along with me on this panel, I have Laura Murdoch.
Okay, let's try this again. Sorry about that. Okay. Okay. All right. We'll try this one more time here, and this time I'll get it right. I hope. I think. Share, and we'll start.
This is the checkers game where grandson and granddad will bond.
My name's Chuck Pettis. I love branding. I have a company called Brand Solutions, Inc., located in Freeland, Washington. I've been very privileged to have a family of entrepreneurs. My son, Bree Pettis, was co-founder of a company called MakerBot, the leader in desktop 3D printing. And I was very fortunate to be able to work for him for 3 years, where I was the VP of marketing to introduce the MakerBot Replicator 2 desktop 3D printer. Startups and entrepreneurs have a hard time articulating the product, the target audience, and what's the benefit of their product. Entrepreneurs and founders should start with branding from the very beginning. It will help them articulate what they're doing and why it's important and help them be way more successful. Branding's all about selling. It's the most efficient selling process. So to get customers, you have to sell, understand the customer's pain point and the problem, and then you need to articulate a solution that's going to relieve that pain and help them be really successful. A positioning statement is the company's most repeated message. It should be short, clear, understandable. It should explain what the company does and the benefit to its customers and target audiences. Most companies don't come up with a positioning statement. They ramble on and on and on. So a positioning statement should be the first thing you say in any conversation, any marketing communication, the website, brochures, presentations. You know, when you start a company, you want to find the 20% of the target audience that's going to bring you 80% of the revenue. And the positioning statement is targeted to help you do that. And it typically takes 28 times of repetition for someone to actually remember something. So in branding, we're trying to make it simple, keep it clear, keep it focused. In my experience, the biggest mistake that most companies make when it comes to branding is they go to a design firm or an ad agency and ask them to brand them or rebrand them. The problem is that very few agencies and design firms actually understand the true tools and techniques of branding. I really think that companies, as they're getting started, should develop their brand identity map, their brand name, their target audience, their category descriptor, the top purchase factors and features and benefits, the emotional appeal of their product and their brand. And that's what really makes a difference. Your positioning statement, your top 2 features and its and associated benefits, the emotional appeal of your product or brand, and what are the visuals that capture that emotional appeal, so when the target audience sees those visuals, it makes them want the brand.
All right. So here we go into more. Now, you'll see on here that there are exercises that are available. I'll just encourage you all to do them on your own. You can reach the resource from our page. Today, we're just going to watch the videos, but there are exercises for those of you who would benefit from a little more in-depth on each of these subjects. We're going to start off with building an emotional connection.
Okay, my name is Chuck Pettis. I love branding. I'm really going to have a good time telling you in 40 minutes everything you need to know almost about branding. I've been doing branding my whole career. And I've been an entrepreneurial family my whole career, and so I'm really connect with you. I've had the opportunity to work with some of the world's greatest brands in all different kinds: manufacturing, service, real estate, consumer, financial, lots of high tech, manufacturing, restaurants, boy, just about everything. Let me just skip through those. So branding is the most powerful tool in the commercial world. Very few people understand how brand works. I'm here to tell you how it really works, because branding alters people's perceptions of reality. What I want to do is give you an overview of these most powerful branding tools that are used by the world's most powerful brands, so that you can use these tools to help your company be super successful. What is brand? Brand is a trademark. It's a trust mark. It's a trust relationship. Brand is about perception. It actually has not that much to do with reality. Stanford did a study with kids, and they found out that anything that has McDonald's on it tastes better to kids. Whoa. There's the great test between Coke and Pepsi. If you do blind taste testing, where people are tasting Coke and Pepsi, but they don't know what they're tasting, 51% will prefer Pepsi over Coke. But if you do name testing, here's Coke, here's Pepsi, all of a sudden almost 3-to-1, people will prefer Coca-Cola over Pepsi. Huge. They did the same study where the subjects were in an fMRI scanning machine, where most of the branding research is being done this day, i.e. what's going on in the brain when people are perceiving your brand. When the subjects didn't know what brand they were tasting, nothing happened in the brain. When they were cued with Pepsi, nothing happened in the brain. When they were cued with Coca-Cola, the brain lit up. In branding, we want the brain to light up emotionally. We want people to want your brand. Here is the brain on Coca-Cola. Here is the brain on Pepsi. I once did a workshop with one of the world's leading radiologists. He said, that's the pleasure center. It doesn't get much better than that. What has Coke done and what's Pepsi done? Coke has been on message. They repeated their key messages, delicious, refreshing, unique, for decades. They've kept the same logo. Pepsi keeps changing the logo. Pepsi keeps changing their messages. They actually just recently did a commercial where they used delicious and refreshing, which is the words that Coca-Cola owns. So let me tell you how people perceive reality. We perceive reality through our senses. The first place a sense signal goes is the amygdala, the limbic system in the middle of our brain, where people unconsciously decide what they're hearing, seeing, feeling is relevant to them. We want to light up the emotional brain. Then the sense signal gets to the prefrontal cortex, which is the rational brain, and that's where we want them to see your messages. So when you're doing branding, we need to light up the emotional part of the brain first, and then we need to give them messages so they know they've made a right decision. First we start with emotions, then we go to the rational. The way we light up the brain is through imagery. We need to pick the right imagery because people are bombarded with all these messages. They tune them out. If you show the right image to people, it'll get the brain to light up emotionally, they'll connect, and then you give them the messages. So then what we do is you got to pick the right images. Image first, then messages. Then you use a brand ladder. A brand ladder is where you pick your features, why people are going to buy your product, then the benefits, why is it good for them, and then you want to ask them, how does it make you feel when you deliver on that feature and those benefits? Then you find imagery that evokes the emotion connected to the top tier purchase factors. So you show the images that are connected to the top tier purchase factors, then they can read the features and the benefits. So we did a project with Geldwin, who's the world's largest manufacturer of windows and doors. And the number one purchase factor for windows is reliability. It's true for dealers, distributors, builders, remodelers, consumers. Actually, reliability is the number one purchase factor or feature in the world. Everybody wants reliability. So then we found out, how do we ladder that up? And what is the emotion for reliability when it comes to windows if you're a builder or remodeler? Reliability, and the emotion is peace of mind, because if the window arrives, it has a defect, it's late, it causes all kinds of problems. You want it to arrive on time, and it boils down to peace of mind. So it's all about imagery. Got to pick the right imagery. And you really ought to test imagery. You can test imagery first in your founder group, and then with your friends you can have pizza parties. So this is a major opportunity. If one thing I want you to take out of this, the number one thing is the use of powerful imagery to get your target audience's attention. So here's the Geldwin. No, let's go back to the Geldwin if we could. Here's the brand ladder. So here's Geldwin ads. And we did all kinds of research to find out what kind of imagery would evoke peace of mind when it came to windows, because most people just show the frames. What we found out is if we show pictures of windows from the inside of a home to a beautiful pastoral landscape, it like totally did the job. This equaled billions of dollars to Geldwin. It was huge. This stuff really works. So brand is your proprietary, emotional, visual, rational image. It is all about selling. This is not about fluff or hype or anything like that. It's about how do you sell quicker and faster. And a well-crafted value will increase the value of your brand and your company, so you can get better funding, you can get a higher multiplier, you can get a great exit. It's not about a new logo. The big trap you're going to run into if you go to a branding agency is most of these people have no idea of any of the stuff I've just talked about, and to them branding's a new logo. What a waste of time. Forget it. It's all about communicating what you do and communicate it in a way that people get it and they want it. It's about more sales, a quicker close, a better valuation, building trust, and attracting great people to come work for you.
I do want to take a second here because what he was talking about historically in the past, this idea of hiring somebody to help you do branding and then creating all of this material. He just showed you a bunch of print ads that probably ran in national magazines around the country. So the way your story can be told has really changed with the advent of the internet and the ability for you to use your website, to use social media, to use video, other things. You are now in a place where you can do this with the resources that you have available. It isn't like you have to be $1 billion brand like Geldwin Windows in order to get your message out. And I just want to make the point that some of this is historical in context. When you'll hear him talk about a number of brands that he's worked with, almost all of them are well-known international names or brands. And it's one thing to have a huge budget. It's another to have no budget. But my point is, you can do this with the channels that you have available to you now. This is about remembering your brand.
getting your brand remembered. You've heard the word repetition, I think so far 2 or 3 times this morning. In branding, the goal is you need to repeat your brand name and your top tier features or purchase factors over and over and over and over again. And like you need to memorize them. And it takes 28 times for people to actually remember stuff, so you need to repeat it verbatim. You can't reword it. This is not like writing essays where you do an intro and then set it all up and keep the good stuff for the end. In branding, we do the good stuff up front and we keep repeating it. So we did a big project for REI. This is the before image. So in REI, a lot of these people do mountain climbing and technical climbing. And so this is real cool to them. The problem is the target audience for REI is a regular person just wants to go for a walk, wants to go for a hike. And this totally scares them, makes their palms sweat. They throw away the catalog. We did research and we found out that if we show little people in big, beautiful landscapes, it totally turns on people who want to go in the outdoors. Because that was the goal. They wanted to motivate people to go in the outdoors and get more clothing and gear. They're still using the same kind of imagery in 2017, 2018. If you go to an REI store, you're going to see this kind of imagery.
Okay. That was quick. Let's talk about developing your brand.
Now we're going to do a brand identity map. Now I'm compressing a day into like 40 minutes, so fasten your seatbelt. So a brand identity map is a mind map. It's what you want everybody in your organization to say when they talk about your organization. It's going to need to be in all your marketing communications. It's got it all on one page. So this is a full brand identity map. We don't have enough time to do this one, so we're going to do an abbreviated one. And this is to ensure you get consistent, repeated messages and visuals in all your marketing communications, from the website all the way down through your presentations. So here's an example of a brand identity map we did for an organization called the Northwest Entrepreneur Network. Entrepreneurs. Shortest positioning statement we ever did. Positioning statement's your most repeated message. Helping entrepreneurs succeed. You might have heard that message be repeated a little bit here, talking about Blackstone Launchpad powered by Techstars. So, and the number 2 purchase factors or reasons to belong are make connections and access resources. This was done with quantitative research with everybody in this organization, so it's dead on. So, you need to repeat it. So here's the website. Northwest Entrepreneur Network, helping entrepreneurs succeed. Helping entrepreneurs succeed, the Northwest Entrepreneur Network helps entrepreneurs make the connections and access the resources they need to succeed. So when I talk about repeating, like I'm not making it up, helping entrepreneurs succeed repeated 3 times at like 20 some words. So you really need to repeat it. It's really important. And then what happens is, I left the board, they got a new marketing person. They got rid of the positioning statement. They got rid of the imagery. They came up with a slogan. Slogans and taglines are a waste of time. It's just one more thing to remember, and you got to figure out what the heck it means. So they go from start to success. Because internally they thought, oh man, we got something from everybody, from the most beginning entrepreneur to the Bill Gates, which was totally not authentic, didn't work. And everything changed. They went down to 100 members, and they went out of business. This branding stuff puts people out of business. I've worked with big companies and we have put their competition out of business. I have worked with companies and made many people extremely wealthy. I'd like you all to become incredibly wealthy. And the way to do it is you need to use these techniques. So here's another problem. Only 1% of companies actually know why people buy their products. This is like a marketing branding sin. So you need to find out that when you're selling, what are the top 2 features that are going to get them to buy you instead of someone else? Sounds simple. Hardly anybody does it. You need to do this for your companies because people out there are saying one thing when the customers want another. Only 8% of Americans trust advertising because this is what's happening. We need to find out if what you do, which of your customers really connects with what you do. So I had the opportunity to work with my son, Bree Pettis, who founded a company called MakerBot here in Brooklyn. We grew that company to $400 million, exited at $400 million in 6 years of manufacturing company. My son Bree Pettis is now doing whatever he wants, and he started a new company called Bantam Tools with desktop CNC machines. This was desktop 3D printing, and I got to be the VP of marketing for him when we rolled out this product, and it was such a blast. And Bree grew up with me, so he saw me using this stuff. We did brand identity maps, not only for the company, but for every product. And before Bree went on Colbert or any interview, he pulled out the brand identity map and he made sure he got the messages down so he was always on message. So this stuff really works. It's simple, but it takes a lot of discipline. For every product. And before Bree went on Colbert or any interview.
One of the points I want to make about this is the workbooks and the worksheets are on this page as well. So as I mentioned, if you want to go through the programs, the brand identity map and some of this other things, these are in on this resource on our website. Find your hook.
So we're going to cover each part of this brand identity one part at a time. I'm just going to do this like really quickly. This is to give you a quick idea of what it's all about. And it's actually important if you could actually do market research to validate what you come up with. So we're going to cover the brand name, target audience, category descriptor, features, positioning statement. Okay. So here's the map. You all got one of these. First is, who's your target audience? So a target audience, you want to find out demographics, psychographics, who are they, what do they look like? Ideally, we give your target audience a name, so when you're talking about the rest of the parts of this brand identity map, you can say, well, what does Hank or what does Sally want? And it should be distinctive and it should be actionable for your marketing. So write your target audience in your map. Maybe you have one or two. So at MakerBot, while you're doing that, we started off thinking the target audience was hobbyists and people were going to buy a desktop 3D printer. Then we rapidly found out that hobbyists only buy one 3D printer, but when we sold to companies like GE, they bought lots of desktop 3D printers. So we switched the target audience from hobbyists to companies. Bingo, sales totally took off. Okay, brand name. Okay, so it was really interesting to see you've got a lot of unique brand names, so I congratulate you on that. The problem these days with brand names is finding one that's available for a trademark standpoint and also available for a domain name. Super hard. Memorable, short, and by the way, don't use acronyms. Words are 60% more memorable than acronyms. Using an acronym is a sure way to get people to forget your name and what you're doing. So category descriptor, this is actually really important. Back in the late 90s, all the high-tech companies, I wrote a book called Technobrands, all the high-tech companies thought branding is what it's at, so they started brand naming every product and coming up with tchotchkes and coffee cups and t-shirts, and they thought branding was done. I remember going to Sun where I did branding for the Sun Ultra Enterprise servers. And we'd done a map of all Sun in the middle and all their brand names, and there were like 70 brand names all around Sun, looked like the asteroid belt. And Scott McNeely was there, and they all realized that they made a major mistake here because nobody knew who all these names were. Plus, it takes a lot of money to manage those trademarks. So people like that, like at Microsoft, unless you're a billion-dollar brand, you don't get a new brand name. You have to use one of the existing Microsoft brands, and you need to use a category descriptor. A category descriptor is 2 to 4 words. It's a generic phrase. It's a hook so people know what you're talking about. And so desktop 3D printer. That was a term we actually made up at MakerBot that hadn't been used before. Now that's the generic accepted term. Tablet, smartphone. So this is not a funny name. This is not a made up name. This is what hook do you want to fit on in the minds of your customers. And you always want to link your brand name and a category descriptor. So I've done a bunch of work for HP LaserJet printers. And they always do HP LaserJet printers. So you want to put your brand name and your category descriptor right afterwards so people hook your name and can associate your name with the category you're in. This is actually a really important decision for you to make. Category descriptors, you need to have it so people really get it quick. One thing you can do is you come up with a list of category descriptors, you brainstorm. You get your team together. You give them, let's say you got 5 category descriptors, you give everybody 2 votes. You have them vote for the category descriptors that's going to be most simplest and easiest to understand for the target audience. And then you can do that with actually, ideally, your target audience, do some market research with them. SurveyMonkey works great. This is one that's really worth researching.
I do want to point out that this material that's been provided for us has been provided by an organization called Techstars, and Techstars only accepts 1 out of 2,000 applicants into their program, and they've been very nice with us to give us access to some of their programming. So the people in this audience that this guy is talking to are companies that have been accepted into the Techstars accelerator. And in this case, it's an accelerator backed by Blackstone, which is the largest private equity fund in the world. Just to give you an idea of where this material is coming from and how great it is that we have access to it. Just a couple more, and that will be it on this subject.
This is really important. Features and benefits. What is a feature? A feature is a factual statement about your product or your service. You know, dimensions, specs. What are benefits? They're the end result. What does the target audience get from that feature? So here's an illustration from HP. The features are up to 40% faster, uses up to 53% less energy, up to 40% smaller, and the benefit is all this beautiful illustration. When we work with HP LaserJet printers, who actually got 90% of the market, they started off with just a picture of the product. Then they started showing the product with a person beside the product. Sales popped. Then they started showing the product with a person, showing the output that just came from the HP LaserJet printer with the right emotional expression. 90% market share. So that's what these features are really important. So, and how do you decide about features? You want to find the features that when your target audience has got it down, whether they're going to buy you or someone else, you want to find the features that motivate them and switch them to buy you rather than the competition. Features are really important. It's another area that really ought to be researched. Okay, let's go. So my question is, for you, when you're selling, I mean, you all got up, you got your 2 minutes to do your pitch. What are the top features and selling message for your brand, for your product, for your service, for your target audience at the time when they're making the decision maybe to fund you, whether to partner with you, whether to be your customer? Examples of top-ranked purchase factors: reliable, scalable, grow as you grow, responsive, knowledgeable tech support, easy, fast, and affordable. So notice these are not complicated. These are easy to understand. The shorter is better because you're going to have to repeat these over and over again verbatim. Now I want you to do, thinking of your product, your service, what is the #1 feature, purchase factor for your product or service in the minds and the hearts of your target audiences? These top 3 are actually from when I did work for Sun, when they were going from engineering workstations to wanting to get into the server marketplace, and we nailed these. It was done through quantitative research. They pulled all the top customers, 100 customers here in the city, and the analysts, they presented this. They were on message. They repeated these messages. They showed, they had Larry Ellison up there showing scalable, and the analysts go to the top customer, what do you think? And the customer goes, it's just what I wanted.
Just take a second here. He talked about features, and he used really simple words like reliable. You know, I think if you start thinking about your products and your services, how can you use simple descriptors like that? Brand benefits. You know, if it's a food product, maybe it's fresher, maybe it tastes better. You know, these, as he said, these are not complicated, but this is what people are looking for when they want to purchase a product or a service. So keep that in mind. Okay. Sorry here.
So you've done your feature. Now I want you to think, what are the benefits of that feature your target audience? And ideally, you want to brainstorm and make a whole list of why is that good for your target audience. And you want to bulletize them. We aren't doing paragraphs here, we're doing bullets. And then you want to think, hey, how does that make your target audience feel? When you deliver on the feature, when you deliver on the benefits, what's the emotion that makes them feel? Does it make them feel smart, confident, in control, safe, strong? You know, they're all these incredible emotions. Then you use the feature and the benefits for your messaging, and then you find imagery that's going to evoke this emotion when your target audiences look at the imagery. Now, this sounds simple. It actually isn't that hard, because if you do this with a group, you can ask them, how does it make you feel if you deliver on this feature and the benefits? Most people have no problem telling you how it made them feel. Then you need to go do research and find out what imagery is going to evoke that emotion. Now let's go to the tangible benefits. And now I want you to do, what's the intangible emotional appeal? So you've made your feature, you've made your benefit. Now think about, how does your target audience going to feel when you deliver on that feature and that benefit? And think of an emotion. And then if you're really cruising, think about what kind of image you could show that would evoke that emotion with your target audience.
I do want to point out that it is possible to get these images at no cost. There are a number of stock photo sites out there that have free imagery. Unsplash.com is my favorite, but they have a lot of imagery that you can use for free for this purpose. So it isn't necessarily a huge expense to get this done.
So this is actually perhaps the most challenging one. This is called the positioning statement. The positioning statement is your most repeated message. You need to use this when somebody says, who are you? Or somebody in your company uses it and they say, what do? You want them to use the positioning statement. It needs to be repeated verbatim, not reworded. It needs to quickly describe what your company does and the benefit to your target audiences. It's generic and descriptive. We are not talking taglines or slogans here or funny, cute headlines. We're talking very straightforward, descriptive of what you do and the benefit to your target audience. A couple examples. With the Intel Celeron processor, you can expect an affordable and reliable PC for your home or home office. Idaho Conservation League preserves Idaho's clean water, its wildlife, and quality of life. The Blackstone Launchpad, powered by Techstars entrepreneurship program, helps students succeed. So the shorter is better because you need to remember it. And you've all got, I think, the fill-in form. This is another one that's really worth testing. You want to get everybody to memorize it. You need to find a positioning statement that you and everyone in your company is comfortable saying over and over and over again, like 1,000 times. And you also need to find a positioning statement. When you say that, your target audience says, tell me more. It starts the conversation, because after you do the positioning statement, you give them your top 2 features and purchase factors, and now you got them. You're reeling them in. And you need to keep the number of purchase factors as short and sweet as possible, because people just can't handle a lot of purchase factors and features. You need to keep it really straightforward. You want to repeat your name many, 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 many times, because in branding, it's all about brand awareness and familiarity. You need to repeat your name so many times so people actually remember it, and then you connect that. It's called brand association with what you do. So use the message in your brand identity map repetitively. Avoid rewording. Link your brand map to your operations. You need to link the brand operations to make sure you can actually deliver on what you're promising in the features. Give it to everyone in your organization. You want everybody to use this. If they won't use the brand, if they won't give it the program, fire them. You want the right people on the bus. Read the book, Good to Great, and get these people who aren't going to participate, who are going to rein on the right messaging, get them out of the organization before they screw you up. And thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so I just want to show you on here that you can do the exercises that he's talking about, and that's all in here as well. All that stuff that he talked about. Okay. Now I warned you that this would be fast and intense and a lot of information. What I would say to you is if you can allow yourself 5 or 6 hours over time to really digest what this guy is saying, it will make the most difference in your success potential than anything we do in this class. I can't overemphasize how important this is, and it's why I make it first. After the business model canvas, it's really a critical piece, and many of you have unique and valuable products and services that you offer. Your job is to figure out how to communicate that to your potential audience. And as he said, it doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be super sophisticated. I think he hit on some themes I think that you have to keep in mind, like how does it make your customer feel? How does it feel to that customer when you execute on your brand promise? When you do what you say your brand does, how does that make them feel? What does that look like? That sort of thinking and imagery will make your marketing and your branding and your images and your story cohesive, and it will resonate with your target audience. That's the idea behind this. It's not about looking like someone else or being like someone else. It's really finding the authentic brand value that you offer and that you can offer. And in that process, there's nothing wrong with testing with groups of populations. If you have a church or some other social group, and you can say, hey, I'd like you all to react to my series of social media ads that I'm going to do, and get their feedback. He mentioned a tool called SurveyMonkey. I'm pretty sure SurveyMonkey is free or has a free service where you can send out surveys with questions and tabulate them. There are a number of those services out there. So of all the things that we're going to do in this class, I'm sorry that it comes so fast and furious. I don't have any control over that, but it is available for you to go over and over as many times as you want. You can certainly reach out to me or anyone on our team to ask questions, to clarifying questions. If you're not familiar with this subject, you will be confused at some of the terminology and what they're talking about. It may not make sense. But I encourage you, you can watch these videos again. You can do the work that's here, the worksheets. You can print them out if you don't want to do it online. But this, I think, will help all of you as you craft your story, your brand story. Because really, at the end of the day, people buy for reasons that aren't always apparent. It's not always clear. Why are they buying from you? Is it because you're the cheapest? Is it because you're the best? Is it because you're the funniest or you have the best pictures? All of the above. And it's your job to figure out within your context, within your brand story, your brand structure, how can you meet these customers' needs, and what kind of things can you do to highlight that? Any questions or thoughts at this stage by folks? Can't hear you, Karen, if you're talking.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I think I was muted to begin with, but I was watching Shark Tank, and they throw around in that show a lot of the terms that we are learning, like brand and the things, it'll come up once in a while when they're trying to, select someone.
Right.
They'll talk about their brand or how do they think the customer, why would the customer buy it? I thought that was interesting. I just thought, since I know a little tiny bit more, it was,
Yeah.
amazing that they,
If you think about it from the point of view of one of those sharks on that show, what they're trying to figure out is if they invest money in somebody that's presenting, how are they going to get a return on their investment? And clearly, the company is going to have to sell stuff. It's going to have to generate revenue in order for it to be successful. So the drivers of revenue really are brand and product. They call it product market fit is another name that you'll run across. Does this product fit the market that it's being aimed at? Or
right,
maybe it needs to pivot and go to another market to be more relevant. But any investor is really an investor is kind of like a representation of the customer in the sense that they need to understand who is going to buy this product or service in order for their investment to work out. So you'll often see if you ever make a pitch to an investor group, their questions will be very much like what you see on Shark Tank or other shows that have to do with, well, who's going to buy this and what volume and who's your competitor, who else is doing this? They're all trying to figure out what the traction will be or what the revenue opportunity is with your idea. So that makes a lot of sense that you'll start to hear some of these terms, more often. Anyone else? Okay. Well, that's it for today on branding. This is available on the resources part of our page. Take a look at it. Give some thought to your positioning statement. He says that slogan and taglines aren't worth anything. I disagree to some degree. I think you have to have something. It doesn't have to be everything, but I do think a slogan does work, especially if no one's ever heard of you before. Giving people a handle to understand what you're doing, I don't think is bad. He made it sound like it's a negative, but I don't think it is. He's working more in the tech space, so technology space. Oftentimes technology companies are doing things that have never been done before. So it's a little harder, but if you're doing things, like providing a value added food product or some other kind of consumer product that's not a technology product, then I like the idea of a slogan or a tagline or something to give people a really quick handle, because they may not really go in depth, like an investor would or somebody on Shark Tank. They might just say, oh, okay, we make the freshest, chili in town or whatever it is. So I don't dismiss that, but that is something to work on. And tomorrow we're going to talk a little bit about email and social media and some of the tools that we use or you might want to use. So that'll be the next two sessions will be about that. So hope you can join us tomorrow. Any other questions or final thoughts from the group today? Okay. Be sure to look on the Slack channel. I've been posting stuff that may be helpful to you. The articles, how to do things, trends, things that are going on. I try to post stuff there so it doesn't clog everyone's inbox, but there is material there that can help you as well. All right, well, we'll see everyone tomorrow. Thanks a lot for coming.
Thank you.